Welcome back to another episode of Under the Wing podcast. I'm your host, Joey, this week by myself. Michael is sick this week, so don't worry. We got somebody coming in to replace him in just a second. But I just want to start this off by saying welcome back. We got a good show for you. Without further ado, let me introduce our co-host for this week, Joe Donahue of Bird's Nest Media. Welcome, Joe. How are we doing tonight, Joe?
Joey, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for the invitation to join you. I'm looking
Joe
forward
and
to
Joey
seeing
show
you
tonight.
and Mike back next week. So yeah, it's the Joe and Joey podcast today, or
Joe
the
and
Joey
Joey
and Joe podcast, however you want to order it.
But yeah, just to give everybody a quick rundown, going to go over some week three, some of the biggest upsets in week three. There was quite a few this week, quite a few intriguing games. We got to talk about it. Obviously, it's the title, the block party in Philadelphia we had this weekend. What a game. And then Monday Night Football, another amazing football game that we're going to go over. Looking forward to some big games this week, week four preview, and then round it up, my bold take to end it all. But without further ado, let's just dive right in to the biggest upsets of week three. And the first one I want to look at is not one that I would have seen coming. I don't know if you saw it coming, Joe. I want to preface this by saying I started the Atlanta Falcons defense this week in fantasy football going, oh, yeah, they're playing the Carolina Panthers. I got an easy win. And then they lost 30-0 to the Panthers. The Panthers, of all people. Like, how does that happen, Joe?
I honestly have no idea. I'm right up there with you, Joey. I am part of a pick'em league that we go through. We pick all the games each week, and everybody in my pick'em league selected the Atlanta Falcons to defeat the Carolina Panthers. I know divisional matchups are weird sometimes, and we're still in that early stage where we're trying to figure out who's a good team. So there's definitely that, but I remember seeing a stat somewhere too that Michael Penix is now 0-4 in games where the opposing team scores more than 7 points, which is not a good look for the Atlanta Falcons. That's a very bad stat. I mean, Kirk Cousins played a lot of games last season, and he came in this one, but I mean, at a certain point, when you're turning the ball over as often as you are, you're going to wind up losing the football game. And it was just not a good look. I mean, time of possession was relatively even in that game, but when you look at some of the other stuff there, especially the turnovers, the Falcons lost the turnover battle bad in that game. So.
Did you see the interception he threw? And like he couldn't even make a tackle. That was embarrassing. And
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like the Falcons, other than Bijan Robinson, the Falcons have really looked like mediocre this season. Like, don't get me wrong, Michael Penix is not a bad quarterback. He just hasn't had enough time, I don't think, in the NFL. He started a few games at the end of the year last year. It's only week 3 this year. But you got to show a little bit more heart on some plays like that. And
yeah,
to be a Falcons fan, like the highs and lows of this season so far, it's like they're 2-1, I believe, and it's your one loss is to a really bad team. They're going to be the bottom of your division again this year. Well, maybe not because of the Saints, but they're going to be either the fourth or third worst team in your division, hands down. And that's just it. Like that's a game that come December or like even November, like November, December, when they're jockeying for playoff position and the division race, which they're going to be facing up against the Buccaneers. They lost that one too. So they're 1-2. Those are 2 games that like really, really hurt them. Now the Buccaneers are a good team, but the Panthers, that's a matchup you can't lose when it comes to playoff positioning down the road. And I know it's early, but it's like even with 17 games that you're playing, every game matters. This isn't like the MLB where it's like you see them like, oh, you see them in July and then you see them in August and then it's like, oh, and you'll see them at the end of September. Like this is you see them 2 times a year, and if you lose to them one time, it's very, very bad. it's crucial. It's going to hurt you down the road.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a real you have to win your division matchups. Or at the very least you have to split them. And it can be very difficult to go and sweep a division rival. But you really have to buckle down on them. I remember a couple years ago I was talking with Merrill Reese on my show, and he pointed out that right to your point, in the NFL, it is a sprint to the finish. You have to compare to a sport like baseball, or even sports like basketball or hockey or soccer, football. You've got 16 games. I'm sorry, 17 games now. You've got 17 games to make a statement to the rest of the league as to who you are as a team, and the Falcons kind of blew one. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. I think they have a lot of questions. They really have to figure out what they're going to wind up doing at quarterback, because Kirk Cousins is commanding a lot of money, but he's definitely older. And Michael Penix Jr. is younger, but he's really got to find the opportunity to identify who he is as a quarterback. And the Falcons went out and got him in the draft and shocked everybody. So it's one of those questions about who the Falcons really need to figure out what their identity as a team is going to be, especially at that quarterback position.
Yeah. And speaking of messing things up and screwing things, I owe somebody an apology this week. So last week on the show, me, Benny, and Mike, we all went in pretty deep on the Bears and Caleb Williams. And boy did we let him have it. I know I personally let him have it. I went as far as saying Caleb Williams is not that good of a quarterback. And I think it could be me, but I believe Caleb Williams must have seen this somehow, some way. And Caleb Williams said, what about me? And hey, you know what, Caleb? I take it back. For at least this week, I take it back, because Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, granted they were at home, but they went out and they played an amazing game. An amazing game. And Caleb Williams threw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, an amazing game. And they beat the Cowboys. They blew the Cowboys out. The Cowboys didn't have a chance. I get it. CeeDee Lamb got hurt. That hurts the Cowboys. But Dallas did not have a chance. 31-14. That's a thumping. That is a thumping right there. And I got to give credit to the Bears. They surprised the heck out of me this week. And honestly, it just goes to show Dak Prescott is exactly who we think he is. Not good. And all he does is throw interceptions when it matters. Like there was I want to say it was like 7-8 minutes left. I know we're going to talk about it next. We saw a big comeback this week. You know what? You got the ball, fourth and goal. Like, it's a make or break play. If you score, okay, it could be a 10-point game with about 7 minutes to go, and you still have a shot. But instead, he throws a weak lame duck into the end zone for a second interception, and you lose the game. And not only do you lose the game, you get benched. So Dallas sucks, and Caleb Williams and the Bears, you've earned my respect for this week. Go Bears.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was very surprised by that game. This week was a really weird week just in terms of like how many surprises there were across the game. So obviously the last game, but in this game, like if you had told me that Dak Prescott was going to go 31 for 40 for 251 passing yards and a touchdown, I would have said, okay, well, the Cowboys probably beat the Bears. And I know the Bears have Pope Leo on their side, but if you tell me that, like, I absolutely would have thought that the Cowboys would have sent the Bears packing substantially. But I mean, 2 interceptions is going to kill you. I mean, ultimately, they were relatively even in terms of offensive yards. The Cowboys actually won a little bit in the time of possession battle. It goes back down to, again, I mean, Dak Prescott got picked off twice. So it's and they fumbled too. They lost a fumble of theirs. So
Miles Sanders, question mark?
Williams.
Okay. Jamal Williams.
Yeah, Jamal Williams.
His
So yeah,
first big mistake this year from him. He's
yeah.
been pretty
So
solid this year.
yeah, I mean, you lose the turnover battle by +3 or by -3, you're going to
Oh, that'll hurt you bad, yeah.
yeah, you're going to lose the game. So in most instances, because that's too steep of a battle of a hill to climb. So
Yeah. And I mean, for us Eagles fans, it was a great watch. Okay,
oh yeah, I
it was,
enjoyed it.
it was a
I
great
was
watch.
laughing. I was laughing
Anytime you
all
watch the
Sunday evening.
Cowboys,
But
anytime you watch the Cowboys lose, like pair that with an Eagles win. Anytime you watch the Cowboys lose, like it's like it's almost the equivalent of like the Phillies watching like winning and then watching the Mets lose, or like the Flyers winning and you watching like Sidney Crosby and the Penguins lose. Like it is one of the greatest feelings in Philadelphia sports when your team wins and Dallas loses. It's great.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but the only other like upset this week, and this one was like kind of like a slugfest. I remember, so I saw the game, like I didn't see really much of the game. I saw the score and I was like, huh. I saw the score at about 5, 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Packers were winning 10-0. And I was thinking, wow, that's it? Like 10-0 over the Browns? Like, where's this Packers offense that has been so good the first 2 weeks of the season? Like they 20 something against the Lions in week 1. I believe 20 plus, if not 30, last week against the Commanders. And then this week, you put 10 up against the Browns. How does that work? And another quarterback throwing an interception at a costly time. Jordan Love. I hate to say it, but it's year 3 now for you. You've got to protect the ball in that situation. It's third down, and it looked like he threw it right to the defender. Like you missed your guy by a mile, and they run it back. They score a touchdown, and we're going to talk about blocked field goals. Let's talk about this one first. Hats off to the Browns. They block the Packers' game-winning attempt, get their own game-winning attempt, and they nail it. It was insanity, and that's
Yeah.
just a poor game. And another guy that has kind of been disappointing me this year for the Packers is Josh Jacobs. He hasn't had like last year when they were signed, you had Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was big. You had Saquon Barkley and you had Josh Jacobs. Those were the 3 running backs that everybody was like, okay, these 3 are the free agent running backs that are going to be the next tier, top tier running backs. And we saw obviously Derrick Henry last year, great year. Josh Jacobs, pretty good year. Saquon Barkley, out of this world year. But this year, we're going to also talk about Derrick Henry in a little bit. This year, Saquon hasn't been as good. He's been good, not as good, but that's more so scheming and all that, I believe. Josh Jacobs really hasn't gotten going. So maybe it's just everybody stacking the box against the running backs. But that's a time when you need to rely on your running back, especially on a third and short. In my opinion, you need to rely on your running back. Hey, it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Go grind these 4 yards out for us, and we can win this football game. Instead of making your quarterback potentially put the game in risk like he did.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, Joey. I mean, Jordan Love was 18 for 25 for 183 yards, and that's just not the best production out of him. I think that I think that there were other reasons why the Packers collapsed this game that were a little bit more systemic. I think that like I think that they just kind of had a bad game. And they kind of choked it away. And this goes back to Jordan Love is many things, and he is a good quarterback. But I don't think that he is in the same tier as some of the quarterbacks. Like, I mean, he's not on the same level as Jalen Hurts.
No.
He's not on the same level as like the quarterback like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or the other quarterbacks that Jalen Hurts is often compared to. Josh Jacobs had 16 carries for 30 yards. So, I mean, yeah, he was averaging about 2 yards a carry, a little bit. But I would have to agree that I think that the when you take a look at everything, when you take a look at the run game, I think that I think Saquon may have had an impact on how teams scheme against the run. So I think that really had an impact on that. So now teams are prepping for that. I mean, credit to the Browns for making the plays that they had to in order to come away with that victory, because that was that was an unexpected victory, I think, on all counts. And I was watching a little bit of some of the videos that are put out by Tom Grossi, who's a Packers fan himself, and like you can. He does a really good job of capturing the emotions of the fan bases. And I think Cleveland had the gut feeling that like 10-0 is enough for them to lose, or at least in terms of the fan base. 10-0 is okay, they're done. So the fact that Cleveland came out and was able to hold the Packers to, at the end of the day, the Packers only had 230 total offensive yards. 81 of those were on the ground. I mean, they came out and they flipped a switch. And whatever switch that they flipped in the locker room and halftime, that, I mean, it was just it worked for them. So, I mean, Jordan Love had how many yards did he have? 183. So he did get a bunch. He did split fairly well between the first half and the second half. But I mean, rushing yard wise, like most of these guys were done by. I mean, Josh Jacobs had 6 carries for 21 yards in the first half, and then they shut him down in the second half. So, yeah.
Well, moving on to everybody's favorite game of the week.
Oh yeah,
my favorite game of the week. What a comeback! Like, obviously we haven't seen a comeback like this since everybody's compared it to like the Miracle at the Meadowlands, and I gotta say that what really had it for me, like, so 19-7 going, or yeah, it was going in the half 19-7. Right before halftime, I see the score. So I'll preface this by saying I was at a church picnic. I really didn't see most of the game. I listened to like the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter on the radio going home. But like watching a little bit on my phone, keeping up on ESPN, I see 19-7 going to half, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like 2-1, here we come. You know what? Rams got their revenge. It is what it is. Like everybody was expecting this anyway. It's okay. And there was just something like magical almost about that Dallas Goedert touchdown. Like if you go back and you look at like the Brent Selleck touchdown against the Giants in the Meadowlands, and then you look at this Dallas Goedert touchdown, it could just be their tight ends. And like, I don't know. I have a weird thing for tight ends and I love them. But the way the ball just floats into them and they just glide untouched into the end zone, it's like, there it is. Like, that's the spark, and that's the play we needed. And I know also the big A.J. Brown catch, but, like, that was, like, when I felt, you know what? Wait a second. Even though it's 26-14, we have a chance. We're alive. We're okay. We're still breathing. We're still in this thing. It's not over yet. How were you feeling going into, like, the fourth quarter down 26-14, Joe?
So I knew. So I'll say at halftime I was like ready to blow the roof off of my house here. That was not that was not a good first half. It was supremely ugly. The Eagles, again, they were relying on Saquon, which, I mean, you can rely on Saquon all you want. But one of the things that I observed as we were going into this, doing the research prepping for this game, was the fact that the Rams in the offseason actually really stacked in terms of run defense. And it kind of took the Eagles a full half to figure that out. that the Rams were not the Rams of 2024, where Saquon could rip off a combined 450 plus yards on them in however many carries. I think that everybody was coming into this. I was talking with, like, even on Saturday evening, I was talking with some folks who do this professionally, and they were saying, like, hey, we would like to some, like, the TV sports reporters who were saying, like, Saquon, like, the run game is going to be really important, and I felt like the outlier in saying I don't really think that the run game is going to be all that important because of how much the Rams stacked the run defense. I think that they were definitely missing people in the passing game. Notably, Akella Witherspoon had gone on injured reserve the Monday prior due to a broken clavicle. So I think they were missing some folks back in the secondary. And once the Eagles kind of figured that out and said, okay, well, the run game isn't working, let's try relying more on the passing game. And once we finally get AJ Brown working into this, I think, like, once I started to see all of that happen, and that took a little bit in the third quarter to turn around, but once I started to see that, I was like, okay, maybe this team has it in them to at least come back, and if they're not going to win it, they're going to at least keep it close. Yeah. It's the final score will be more representative of the fact that the Rams really had to fight for that, which yeah, I was concerned that it was going to be a little too late for the Eagles in terms of their effort. But given the fact that things started to turn around midway through the game, I kind of felt like the Eagles kind of, all right, we maybe made we made the adjustments that we need to make. If we come out on the losing end of the game, we come out on the losing end of the game. But they found the way to win.
Yeah, they did. And honestly, I listened to, shout out to WIP and the I think it's the midday show. Or not the midday, like the afternoon show.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Eskin, Ike Reese, those guys. I listened to it all week on my way home. And for as much as they bashed Jalen Hurts, well, Spike Eskin and Fritz, as much as they bashed Jalen Hurts, Spike did say all week, it's going to be one of those games where Jalen Hurts is going to end up throwing the ball more than we expect. As much as we've wanted to see, the Eagles are going to win. And I'll give it to him. He was right. I didn't think he was right. I personally thought going in the game, you know what? I didn't really take into account what the Rams had done on the offseason. I was like, you know what? Saquon hasn't been doing that good this year, or not even that he hasn't been doing good, but he just hasn't, like, had that breakout run yet. He hasn't had that big play to go, okay, that's the Saquon from last year. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's coming this week. 255 in the regular season last year, 225 in the playoffs last year. Like, this was all set up for the Eagles to just run the ball with Saquon Barkley all game and just run all over them. And it's clear and obvious. Kevin Patullo said, let's see the film from last year, run the ball. Perfect. We're going to do that. And that's all it did. But the resiliency of this team to go into the locker room and go, you know what? This isn't working. We need to find what's going to work, and we need to figure it out quick. Not wait till the end of the week, not wait till film study tomorrow. We're going to figure it out now, and we're going to change it now. But they did that, and all kudos to them. But I want a really big shout out to the two big guys up front. Jalen Carter, absolute monster. Okay. First of all, forget week one. Last week and this week, absolute monster. I get it. Last week it came out that, oh, Jalen Carter hasn't been in, like, the best shape. You know what? I think it's bogus. I do. Like, he might not be in the greatest, like, his most peak physical form yet. But he was able to block a field goal. He's in shape. He's in shape enough for me, okay? And Jordan Davis, dude, the last, like, 3 seasons since he's been here, it's been all about his weight. Like, dude, you're too big. You're not going to be able to stay, like, conditioned enough to play in the NFL regularly. And you know what? This offseason, he really took that personally, and he put his head down, and instead of like after winning the Super Bowl being like, all right, we won the Super Bowl, I'm going to take a step back. No, he decided I'm going to work harder than I've worked before, and I'm going to be better than have been before. And not only did he drop himself down to the best he's been, he looked amazing. Like he looked so freaking good. And I don't even want to talk about the blocks yet. I want to talk about the play. I think it was either a second or third down. I watched him and I was like, there's the guy I was watching was like, there's no way he's gonna get him. Matthew Stafford rolls to the left, and he's got nothing but green grass. And here I see is Jordan Davis running after him. And I'm like, oh yeah, Jordan Davis has got him. Jordan Davis has got him. And they're like, no way, no way. And boom, hits him right out of bounds. I'm telling you right now, if Jordan Davis from last year, the year before was there, Matthew Stafford has a first down on clear as day. But he doesn't. And like it's little plays like that that have the biggest impact in games like this, where obviously errors are so costly. Because we saw with 2 blocked field goals, that changed the whole game. 2 more field goals, and the Eagles are down 14 after scoring 28 points, or down 12 after scoring 28 points. Like that is huge, huge. And got to give a big credit to him just in the offseason working. Big credit to that. And he would not be able to make the plays that he made. Even he said it himself. He would not be able to make the plays, run as fast as he ran at the end of the game if he had not practiced, taken care of himself, and conditioned.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Jordan Davis had 5 combined tackles on Sunday, 1 sack, 1 extra quarterback hit, and then another tackle for a loss. And I really think that comes down to that is a real testament to the kind of work that he did to make sure that he was doing what he needed to do to contribute to the team in a positive manner. I mean, huge shout out to him because he did a bang up job there on the line. And then obviously with Jalen Carter right there with him. I mean, now Carter wasn't quite as impactful. Carter had 3 combined tackles and 2 quarterback hits. So I mean, there's that factored into it, but I mean, Jordan Davis really was the star of the defense this time, and he earned that. And I really appreciated that Greg Olson on the national broadcast called out the fact that like he wanted Jordan Davis to get his moment in the spotlight on that touchdown on the blocked kick. Like he was very glad that Jordan Davis didn't just fall on it, but he showcased to everybody the fact that like he was gonna the kind of work that he had put in the offseason. He hit 18.59 miles per hour on that run, which is the fastest that anybody who's over 330 pounds has run. And like he said after the game, Jordan Davis said after the game that he hasn't run that fast since the combine. When he was drafted, he hasn't run that fast since his 40-yard dash. And he hasn't run that fast. Like he probably would not have been able to do that last year. So he absolutely earned his props there. Also, I mean, Jalen Hurts, you alluded to it with Spike's comments. If there is any doubt anywhere that Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback, that doubt needs to go away because the game was won off of the back of Jalen Hurts. It absolutely was. So there is no question at this point that Jalen Hurts absolutely needs to be in the discussion about who is an elite quarterback. Because with Jalen being 21 for 32, 3 touchdowns, 226 yards, no picks. If that's his stat line and the Eagles scored 26 unanswered points,
right?
He need like the script from that game were mirror images. Each team was a mirror image of each other. It was hilarious. So,
and just to piggyback off of that, like Jalen Hurts last week, obviously against the Chiefs, that brutal hit, he got smothered, and then this week against the Rams, there was a couple times he got hit hard. just to be able to like endure that as a quarterback when like other guys like Mahomes or like they've been looking for a flag. Jalen doesn't do that. Jalen gets up, next play. And just that out of my quarterback is so refreshing almost just to watch. Like, look, my quarterback doesn't care who's hitting him. He doesn't care what's happening. He only cares about the next play and helping his team win. He's not looking for his individual stats, is this, is that. He's doing what can I do to help my team win the game? And to show that toughness, that goes a long way too, just for your teammates. Like, look, guys, they're hitting me too. You know what? It's a rough game. We're getting beat up, but I'm going to stand in and take it. And as the leader of this team, we just got to do it. We got to keep fighting and getting up from hits like that just shows your guys that okay, you know what? I want to follow this guy. I want to be right there standing on the line with this guy because I know no matter what, he's going to get up and we're going to keep on fighting and we're not going to give up. And it doesn't matter if we're down 26-7 or down whatever. We're going to keep fighting and we're going to find a way. But that's pretty much all I got on this week's game. Don't want to go too far in depth. I know they're going to cover that a lot tomorrow. But moving on to the next game I wanted to talk about, Monday Night Thriller. And I really want to dive in first. I alluded to it a little bit earlier. Derrick Henry. So I got a couple things written down here. So he's got 3 fumbles in his last 3 games, which is against the Lions, against the Browns, against the Bills. 2 of those have came with less than 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. So 2 of those, and those are the 2 he lost. The one against the Browns, the Ravens were able to recover. But 2 fumbles after the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter when you're winning. Well, so the Ravens were winning against the Bills. They were down 4 last night against the Lions when he fumbled. That is huge. I'm not saying that Derrick Henry's washed. I'm not saying like anything like that, but he's got to figure it out. Let's just to put it in perspective. So last year, no fumbles at all. Did not have a single fumble all year last year. He had 3 total fumbles all of 2023. And then his most fumbles in a season came in 2022. He had 6. And then in 2019, he had 5. But he's got 5 seasons where he's had 1 or less fumbles in his career. So I don't know what it is. I don't know. It could just be, hey, he's losing some strength. He's getting old. He's getting up there in his 30s. Or it could be some of these young guys are really good. Aiden Hutchinson, I'll give it to him. He made a heck of a play last night. But you got to cover the ball up a little bit better. That is the bottom line. You're down 4 points. You've got the ball. After the 2-minute warning, you got to cover up the football. You can't hold it like this or like this. You got to hold it tight. And really, 2 hands on the ball, hold it tight and go through the line. Like, don't be worrying about, well, let me stiff arm this guy or no, you need to, if you're running with the football, whether you're up, whether you're down, after the 2-minute warning, you need to hold it like it is your newborn child and you need to hold it and make sure it is not going anywhere. You need to make sure like they got to pry it out of your arms. I've seen better ball control on Jalen Hurts in the bottom of the pile of the tush push than what I've seen at Derrick Henry this year, like running after the 2-minute warning.
I've seen better ball control from Nelson Aguilar than I have from Derrick Henry.
Exactly. And that's saying something when one of them couldn't even catch.
He can't catch the ball, but he can
made it on
hold
the news because he couldn't catch. Because, yeah.
Yeah, nah. Derrick Henry, I mean, everybody has these spells periodically, right? Like we talked, I talked about it on 302 last week on the main show 302 with regard to the fact that Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback and also wasn't playing his best football through the first 2 weeks. I mean, everybody goes through those things. It is a matter of how quickly can you make the adjustment, right? It's a matter of how quickly can you turn it around and be able to learn from those mistakes. Because if you keep committing the mistakes, it's going to create problems for you. But I mean, the way that a mistake is beneficial for you is you learn from it, you make an adjustment, you try to keep it from happening again. And we're not perfect. No, even NFL players are not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. But it is how you get back up and grow from the mistakes, and try to keep going on that. And that goes back to like another one of Nick Sirianni's sayings is like always trying to be 1% better. You can always continue that growth, even if you are an elite running back. And Derrick Henry very much so is. It's just a matter of how. It's just a matter of making sure that he's putting himself in the position to be able to not fork over the ball. I mean, that wasn't obviously the only reason that the Ravens lost the game, because they need to. I mean, the defense needs to keep the Lions from scoring 38 points on them. But turnovers are not going to help. Turnovers never make it easier on your defense. So I mean, that's a big that is a big thing that they need to be aware of. So again, credit to the Lions for playing their heart out the way that they did and being able to force the fumble in this game. And yeah, Derrick Henry just you have to turn it around. You have to be able to figure it out. You have to be able to grow from the mistake and be able to try to keep the mistake from happening again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to talk about Lamar Jackson for a second here. Lamar Jackson is he's a pure athlete. Like, he is so good. He's like, to me, I would say him and Josh Allen are the best two quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And he played an outstanding game. He was 21-27, 288 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. He got sacked 7 times. That goes to tell me that the Ravens have a big, big problem. And it's not a Lamar Jackson problem. Might not even be a Derrick Henry problem. This Ravens offensive line that for many, many years has been a strength of their team. What happened? I know, I get it. The Lions have a solid defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson, like I mentioned before, he's a monster. But 7 sacks on a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, who can run here, run there, escape the pocket like nobody else, that is how you know you have a serious problem as an offensive line. If you can't protect him enough, and if he gets sacked 7 times, you're not going to win that football game. If your quarterback's on his back and pressured all game, you're not going to win the game. So the Ravens, they're 1-2 right now. I picked them to be one of the top teams in the AFC, and they got we're going to talk about it a little bit. They got a big game coming up this week. They're on the verge of being 1-3. And we're going to talk about it. I'll get into that in a little bit, but it's a really good possibility that we could be seeing an AFC powerhouse this year just not be where we thought they were going to be. Maybe it's the rough schedules catching up to these teams, but you got to play better. As a team as talented as the Ravens are, you got to be better. And you're at home. I get it. Everybody last night was like, we should have had this as an upset, because everybody last night that I saw was picking the Ravens. And the Lions went in there and said, you know what? Week 1, we did terrible. Week 2, we crushed the Bears, and everybody said, oh, it's just the Bears. You know what? Week 3, we're going to go in to Baltimore on a Monday night, and we're going to show everybody that, you know what? Last year wasn't a fluke, and this year we're coming back for blood. We're coming to finish business. And as an Eagles fan, I hate to say it, they're our biggest threat right now in the NFC. They are our biggest threat. I get it. The Buccaneers are 3-0. I'm not worried about the Buccaneers. I'm worried about the Detroit. Well, I'm worried a little bit if we got to go to Tampa, but that's another story for a little bit later in the show. But I'm worried about the Detroit Lions because, man, when they are on point, when they are healthy, they are a dangerous team. And last night, you had Jahmyr Gibbs going crazy. You had, I believe, let me double check, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both had 2 rushing touchdowns. They both went over 50 yards. David Montgomery had 151 yards rushing. Jahmyr Gibbs had 67. Like, these guys mean business. They're not playing around. They are, as much as we just talked about teams stopping the run, the Ravens just 41 points against Buffalo. I'm not sure what they gave up last week against the Browns. Let me see. 17, but against the Browns, they only scored 13 this week. And then 38. So against the 2 good teams you played, against the 2 playoff teams you played from last year, you've let up 41 and 38. That is awful. That is horrendous. Horrendous. John Harbaugh has got to be livid with his team. And quite frankly, if it continues down this road, we might not see much of John Harbaugh anymore.
Yeah, so to your point about Lamar. So Lamar Jackson so far this season has sustained 12 sacks, and that has cost their team 98 yards over the course of 3 games. Buffalo dealt him 2, and then Cleveland dealt him 3. So they have that offensive line is a real concern for Baltimore. There's a reason why, and bringing it back to the Eagles, right? So like Jeff Stoutland's official title is the offensive line coach and run game coordinator, and there's a reason why he has both of those titles, and that's because of how important the offensive line is to an effective run game. So if Derrick Henry's having problems executing on a good run game, a big reason why is because the offensive line is not doing its job. Same thing with the sack situation. Lamar Jackson, 12 sacks already in the season. Like, that should not be a thing at all. So I'm trying to grab what the how many sacks he's had so far, like where, like in terms of rankings. Where's he at?
It's got to be at least bottom 15 in the league.
Yeah.
If not bottom 10. Like, that.
Lamar Jackson is tied for second in most sacks taken.
Yeah,
he's tied with Drake May and Geno Smith, and he's just behind Cam Ward.
Wow.
So
12 sacks over 3 games is an average of 4 sacks a game.
Yeah. And Lamar Jackson does have them beat in terms of how many yards he's given up on sacks.
You said it's 98 yards so far total?
98 yards.
Wow.
So that's almost, he's given up almost a football field in sacks.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, like you want to you want to look at how bad things have gotten there. You look at that offensive line.
You're almost losing like 8 yards of play. So that's putting you like 8 yards behind the sticks. That's not, you can't sustain that. But
that is not sustainable performance, and no. I mean the Ravens have to figure that part of this out. They've got to tighten up their offensive line performance. I mean, I agree with you about the Lions. The Lions are the number one. The Lions were the number 1 seed in the NFC last season for a reason, and that is because they really fought and they really challenged to folks to get there. And their early exit at the hands of, I believe it was the Commanders that they played in the divisional round. Yes, it was the Commanders that they played in the divisional round. Their early exit from the playoffs only has to leave them hungrier, because last season, or the 2 seasons ago, they made it to the conference championship game.
Yeah.
So now they lost to the 49ers that year, but they made it to the conference championship game. So they know what they're playing for. They have a mission. They're out there to try to get it. And Jared Goff, I mean, he didn't have he threw for 202 yards on 20 catches. He went 20 for 28, 202 yards, 1 touchdown. So I mean, Goff's out there. He's doing what he needs to do to try to get the Lions to where they need to go. So yeah, I do have concerns when we look at the Lions, and we'll face them this year. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how they are. Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how
It'll be
how
later
they
on
pan
in.
out.
I think it's later in November, so that'll be an interesting game to see.
Yeah,
But let's move on to games this week. Some of the best games this week. I'm going to start with one that at the beginning of the season you would have probably looked at this one and been like, "What? You're calling this an interesting game? You're calling this team an interesting team?" But let's not overlook the 3-0 punting for the first time in week 2 in the second quarter. Like, wow. But let's not overlook the 3-0 Daniel Jones led Indianapolis Colts.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. So this is an interesting one because not only are the Colts 3-0, they're actually playing a team that we were just talking about. The not St. Louis, wow. The LA Rams. This kind of feels like this might be, I hate to say it, the Colts' first loss. Because coming off of what happened last week, the Rams are going to be fired up. Oh, but there's also a part of me that thinks, what if the Rams come out and are just flat? What if the Rams come out and they got it in the back of their minds, dude, whatever we do, it might not be good enough. We were up almost 20 points last week and we lost. What if last week happens again? And I'll say it, Daniel Jones, he might have just needed to get away. He might be a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. He's played the Titans and the Dolphins, 2 0-3 teams. But well, there's one other team. Who do you play? Titans.
He's played the Broncos, who are 1-2 so far. So they do support your thesis.
Well, the Broncos aren't a horrible team, but that one was a little bit of just tiny bit of luck with the penalty at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But still, Daniel Jones, he did enough to get his team, number one, in field goal position. Number two, they scored like 29 points. So really, I mean, he scored over 25 points. If you score over 24 points, Drew Brees said it this week about the Saints. He said, if you can score over 24 points, realistically, you will win 10 to 12 games every year. You'll be vying for your division championship or your division like crown. So, I mean, if Daniel Jones can continue to lead that offense, and I know it's mostly carried by Jonathan Taylor's having an outstanding season, credit where credit is due, but when he's needed to, Daniel Jones has put the ball down the field where he's needed to, when he's needed to. So, all I'm saying is, don't rule out, I know I said they'll probably lose, but do not rule out a 4-0 start for the Indianapolis Colts if they can catch the Rams sleeping a little bit. But I just think Sean McVay is going to have his team ready. They're studying film. I know they are. They're going, what did we do wrong in the second half last week? How did the Eagles make this great comeback? You know what? The Eagles are a good team. Colts, not as good, I'll be honest. But how are the Rams? I want to see, number one, how are the Rams going to respond? How are the Rams going to respond from last week and what happened? And number two, how is Daniel Jones going to fare against the best team he's played all season? What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of how the Rams are going to respond respond coming off of this, the one thing that I would expect them to do would be to work on Joshua Carty's kick trajectory, because otherwise, I think that the Colts will have opportunities to break through and block their kicks. Because Jordan Davis said after the game that they knew what his kick trajectory was looking like through the first 4 field goals that he had kicked. So the fact that Jordan Davis observed that, now every other team in the NFL is going to go take a look at what Josh McCarty's kick trajectory was over the course of these games, and especially in the Eagles game. So they're the Rams, if they're smart, they're going to work with Josh McCarty this week. Their special teams folks are going to work with Josh McCarty this week to try to figure out why he's kicking the ball low enough or in a spot where a defending team can block 2 in a row. So that's going to be a big thing that the Rams are going to work on. Absolutely. I mean, for the Colts, you pointed out the fact that the Colts have punted exactly one time this season. They punted this past week for the first time. It's the fewest time. It is the fewest. Yeah. It is the fewest punts by a team in their first 3 games of the season since at least 1940. So I mean, the Colts are doing really, really well there in that regard. I mean, Daniel Jones, the best. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are both proving that the best thing that can happen to your career as an NFL player is you leave the Giants. Yeah. I mean, Jones 18 for 25 last week, 228 yards and a touchdown, no picks, and 27 rushing yards last week. He's the only quarterback with those stats, with 225 or more passing yards, a touchdown pass, and no picks in each of the first 3 weeks of the season. So he's looking for his 4th in a row this week in that regard. And I think the Colts have found, I don't know what they did to help Daniel Jones get to this spot. Maybe again, it's just the fact that they're not the Giants. Maybe it is the fact that they have Shane Steichen over there and strong coaching, but and more weapons too in that regard. But
yeah,
I definitely didn't call the Colts starting 3-0. I am. It's an interesting story to see how Daniel Jones is pulling this off. I think I mean, the Rams will probably. I'm taking a look at the Rams are still, I think, probably a better team. But in any given week, anything can happen. So.
Yeah. And just to the Giants player point, honestly, it's starting to become like it's starting to become true just a little bit, because I look at it and okay, we got Saquon Barkley went off as soon as he left the Giants. Daniel Jones, he's 3-0 right now. He's not proving us wrong. But another guy I want to look at is Xavier McKinney, like on the Packers. I just want to touch on this shortly. Xavier McKinney had a great season last year, his first year off the Giants. So the Giants might be good at producing talent just for other teams. And that's where I'll leave it. But hey, the second game I want to get into before we get into this one at the bottom here, our Eagles going to Tampa Bay. And I can't ask the question on 1-2 because they're talking about it tomorrow. I'll ask you this. What do the Eagles have to do this week to get a win, to finally, like, I get it, 2 years ago in 23, they got that Monday night win and a slot fest, but then they lost that in the playoffs when it mattered in Tampa Bay. So in my eyes, we really haven't won in Tampa Bay in I don't know how long, and I'm starting to get sick of it. So what do the Eagles need to do, Joe, just to get a win this week?
I think that because you're right, the Buccaneers have won 4 of the last 5 games that the Eagles have played against them in the regular season. Tampa Bay has beaten us 4 times to our 2 times in the postseason. And Tampa Bay has won the last 3 times that we faced them in the postseason. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a perennial thorn in our side. And they're a real problem. I actually, like, when the schedule came out, I actually had this as a penciled in loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. Because I mean that just because of how much of a pain they can be. I think one thing that's going to help the Eagles is the fact that there is some injury concern with the Buccaneers right now. I forget which player I saw was not looking good. But I think Chris Godwin's coming back this week. So
Mike Evans is out, I believe.
Yeah, Mike Evans was a real weapon for the Buccaneers in the times that we faced them recently. Chris Godwin's coming back from his own injury, so I would suspect that they're going to rely on him quite a bit. I think honestly, it's going to be it's going to be shaking up Baker Mayfield. I think that's where that's where things are going to wind up having to keeping Baker Mayfield off of his game. I mean, Baker Mayfield had 1 sack against the Jets last week, and I'm trying to get what the numbers are for the previous weeks. But he, I mean, the Buccaneers really just have he sustained 4 sacks against the Houston Texans and still beat the Texans 20-19.
That was their 1-point win. So that might be a key. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the Eagles definitely have a better defensive front than the Texans do. And if the Texans are able to get 4 sacks on Baker Mayfield, the Eagles should absolutely be able to disrupt the backfield and keep him on his toes, because he will not have the same weapons that he's used to. And I think that the Eagles focusing on that, on making the big play defensively, and then offensively, the Eagles obviously just have to keep doing what they're doing in terms of making the adjustments and letting Jalen Hurts be Jalen Hurts. I think that the play calling in the first half was way too conservative. And there were reports that Jalen actually asked for the play calling to get a little bit more aggressive. And I think that if that's the case, let's be more aggressive.
Speaking of the Texans
on offense and get in Baker Mayfield's face on defense.
Yeah. Speaking of the Texans, really quick, you just mentioned them. How about CJ getting released already? 3 weeks in, already released. And you know what? I saw earlier today too. Goes under the radar because it happens every week. Kenyon Green gets signed and then released and then signed and released. He also got released today. I know the Eagles can't pick him up because they traded him. He didn't play the 4 games or whatever. But it's insane he got released. Again, character issues out the wazoo for this guy.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to say on that. I mean, hopefully he finds a landing spot. He's a really good player. If he is a good player. Figure out what's going on and with the maturity. Personal stuff. Yeah, if he can be a little bit more mature, I think he'll be a good contribution to whatever defensive locker room he lands himself in. But at this point, he needs to. I mean, there's a reason why the Eagles traded him, and it's not because the Eagles got any major compensation from the Texans.
Yeah. Now, I heard somebody ask Nick Sirianni in a press conference, and he kind of deflected away from it, like, no, it was Kevin Patullo the whole time. Do you think that Jalen called plays, not even necessarily called plays, but was audibling plays potentially more in the second half? And do you think that's something that we might see this week a little bit more? I know you kind of touched on it as Jalen was saying they need to be more aggressive. Do you think that's something they might potentially look to do, or Jalen might just take over and be like, hey, this is what I think, this is what we should do, and this is what we're going to do? I know a couple years ago when we had the collapse in Seattle, that game, it came out at the very end of the game when he threw it up to A.J. Brown and got intercepted, that him and A.J. just made that play, and they were like, this is what we're going to do. I don't think it'll be anything like that, but do you think we'll kind of see Jalen Hurts take the reins of hey, I think this is the play we should run, or these are the type of plays we should run, and we should kind of stick to this?
I think the sign of any good coach is going to be how much feedback he takes from the players, and adapts to that, and how he receives that feedback, and how he adjusts based off of the feedback. And if you're the offensive coordinator, if you're the head coach, if you're whoever you are calling plays, you had better be taking the feedback of your franchise quarterback. And you better be taking it seriously, because he's a captain of the team. He's the leader. He's the person that you're going to be radioing the play out to. He has to, I think Kevin Patullo should absolutely be taking the feedback of Jalen Hurts. And he also needs to have a lot of trust in the starting quarterback, that if he gets out there and he sees something he doesn't like, he's going to make a change at the line of scrimmage. And I think that comes with the territory of what Patullo is getting himself into when he has the play calling duties handed to him by Nick Sirianni. And that's one of the reasons why I think Nick Sirianni wanted to step away from that, is because of how involved he has to be, and how in constant communication with the quarterback. Now, Nick will say he's in constant communication with everybody, but how much more so are you when you're dealing with the quarterback on offense versus how you can be aware of everything going on in the game? I think Patullo as the play caller should be expecting that Jalen may make a change at the line of scrimmage. And that doesn't mean that Patullo is not going to call the play. That just means that Jalen Hurts sees something he doesn't like with relation to the play that was called versus the play that was versus what the defense is showing him, and he's going to make a change. And I think that collaboration will help the team grow. So I think that collaboration obviously needs to happen through the week, and it will be evidenced on Sunday. But it's going to if it's not already happening, it has to happen.
Yeah, definitely. But moving on to the last game, the game at the bottom of the screen here. Kind of alluded to it earlier. This is big. Like, this is. I mentioned it earlier about the Falcons and like the divisional games. Yeah, that's divisional games. They have playoff implications no matter when they're played. But this game right here, this game, like the Ravens, their first game of the year, that was a big playoff implication game. This game right here, this is a massive, massive playoff implication game. And I want to say this about it. Nobody, unless somebody placed a bet on it for both of these teams to be 1-2, you can, and you have receipts to back it up. You cannot convince me that you would think, okay, coming into week 4, both these teams are going to be 1-2, and coming into Kansas City, one of these teams is going to walk away 1-3, because I looked it up earlier, and since 1990, 34 out of 235 teams that have gone 1-3 to start their season have made the playoffs. That's 14.5% of those teams. And then 18 out of those teams have won their division. So that's like half of the 34, or a little over half. And then not a single team that has ever gone 1-3 to start the season, like 1-3, not 0-3. I'm saying 1-3. Not a single team has won the Super Bowl after going 1-3 to start the season. So, obviously, like you're going to start if you start 0-3, I know the Patriots did it at one point, like they were 0-3. That's different. I'm talking like they won a game and then they lost a couple to make it like where it was like they weren't 0-3 at any point. These teams were 1-3. So I just want to clear that up.
Yeah.
But one of these teams will be 1-3 walking away, and that's going to lead us into my bold take. I'm not going to tell you who I think will yet, but this game is massive. And for an AFC that has been so loaded and so stacked, if you're a Bills fan seeing this right now, you're like, let's go. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. Because the Bills are sitting pretty at 3-0 right now. I don't know who they play this week, but I know it's not anybody worth playing, and they're probably going to win. So this is like, if you're an AFC fan, if you're a Chargers fan, you're locked in on this. You're like, okay, let's go Baltimore. Let's go. You're rooting for your Harbaugh brother. And that's another thing playing into here. Like, I'll get into that in a minute, but this is just so crazy to me. It's one of these teams is going to be 1-3. Joe, coming into the season, did you think either of these teams were going to look this way coming into week 4?
I definitely didn't think the Chiefs were going to look this way. I think that anybody who tells you that the Chiefs were going to be starting 1-2 is absolutely lying. I mean, people had the Chiefs penciled in to beat the Eagles last week. They had the Chiefs penciled in to beat the Chargers in Brazil. I mean, I am shocked that the Chiefs are 1-2. The Ravens probably, I mean, just based off of their stuff, I mean, I'm a little less surprised about the Ravens given who they were playing in the first couple weeks. But definitely the Chiefs. I did not expect the Chiefs to be in this position. And honestly, the fact that the Chiefs are 1-2 instead of 0-3 is because of the fact that the Giants have Russell Wilson. So that's really the only reason.
If Russ wasn't
why.
throwing lame ducks all game on Sunday night.
Yeah, Russell Wilson was like first and goal, and he was like airmailing the football. And it's like, why are you doing that?
How do you go from throwing 450 yards against the Cowboys one week to can't hit the broadside of a barn next week?
Yeah, and the fact that they had to like review it because he like literally sent a football up the tunnel. Like that was not. I mean, that's not a good look for those guys.
No,
so
it's not.
Yeah,
and did you see Jackson Dart actually is named their starting quarterback now?
I did see that. Yeah, it's
no more Russ.
No more Russ for them. So, yeah, no, I would agree. I don't think that anybody would have expected either of these two teams to start 1-2. It's we say that one of these teams will be walking out of here 1-3, but they could both walk out there 1-2-1, which would be even more of an embarrassment. But
it would be a pitiful, piss poor game if they both walked out 1-2-1.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Ravens and the Chiefs have met 7 times in the past 8 seasons, including the playoffs, and 5 of their most recent 6 have been decided by 7 or fewer points. So, to be fair, they could very well walk out of there neck and neck for the 1-2-1, which again still would be an embarrassment of riches for both teams. Maybe not an embarrassment of riches. It would be just an embarrassment for both teams. But the fact that one of these teams has the potential to walk out of this game 1-3 should be very, very concerning for both fan bases. So I would agree with you on that. I mean, we're stuck. This game's going to be a really, really interesting game.
But leading into like I said, this is going to lead into my hot take. So I was thinking about this all day, and when I saw this game, it's obviously my hot take has to do with this game, and I feel like a lot of my hot takes have had to do with like the AFC, and you know what? They've had a lot to do with the Chiefs, and I feel like I've probably said this exact hot take more than once. But you know what? I feel like I'm going to stick to it because it's every week it's ringing more and more true. And you know what, Joe? I think that this is the week that the Baltimore Ravens, they stop, they stand up, they go, you know what? We're not taking this no more. And they show the fight, the backbone. I think Lamar just shows everybody why he should have won MVP last year, why he's won the MVP twice already in his career. I think the Baltimore Ravens play an outstanding game. I think the Chiefs lose. I think they fall to 1-3. They fall behind the Chargers, the Broncos, I believe the Raiders are also 1-2. So they could potentially fall to 4th in their division behind the Oakland Raiders. But I'm going to take it a step further. I'll say they're just behind the Broncos or the Chargers and the Broncos for now. I'm going to say it. They fall to 1-3 and they're not making the playoffs. I'm going to say it now. I'll stop saying it. I'm going to say it as this is the last time I'll say it on the show until they don't make the playoffs. My bold take is that if the Chiefs are going to lose this game, they're going to fall to 1-3 and they are going to miss the playoffs. This game right here is going to be the one that, like, the AFC tiebreaker that puts them behind in the division too far, whatever. This is the game. It's week 4. I don't care. I'm praying on their downfall. I can't wait to see it. The Eagles showed the NFL why the Chiefs are frauds. They did, and they haven't been good since. They haven't been able to. You beat the Giants. Woohoo! Anybody can do that. But like they haven't played it. They haven't been able to beat a good team since. So this is it. This is the week that the Baltimore Ravens are going to stick it to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be 1-3. The Chiefs are not making the playoffs. That's my bold take. What do you think, Joe?
I think that it is very likely that the Chiefs lose this game. Here's why. And this is courtesy of the NFL PR team. The Ravens lead the NFL with an average of 37 points per game this season. What does that mean? So in week 1, the Ravens, now they lost to the Bills, week 1, 41-40. Week 2, They beat the Browns 41-17. Week 3, they lost to the Lions 30-38. The Chiefs, in their first 3 weeks of the season, they lost to the LA Chargers 21-27. They lost to us 17-20. They beat the Giants 22-9. Do the Chiefs have it in them to score at least 30 points in order to have a shot at winning this game? I don't think they do, at least at this juncture. Now, they could very well do that. They could come out and surprise us both. And I mean, the Chiefs have, in the series, Kansas City has won 5 of the last 6 matchups. And Kansas City does lead the series over the Ravens 8-4 in the regular season. But at the same time, do the Chiefs have it in them to score 30 points at least? I'm not sure that the Chiefs are in a position where they can do that right now. They do have it in them to win, but if they win, it's going to be because the Chiefs' defense contains the Ravens' offense more so than it's because of anything that Patrick Mahomes is going to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's when I'm looking at this game, I think that the Chiefs' defense is going to really, really need to come up key here for this.
Yeah. Well, Joe, that's pretty much all I got for you tonight. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
In place of Mike.
We almost missed the one game that we were that the one interesting game. The other interesting game we need to talk about.
What's that one?
It's the Micah Parsons reunion with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, before we go, yes. The Micah Parsons. Thank you, Joe, because so we can touch on this quick. Micah Parsons is coming home. He's coming home. And you know what? I can't wait to see. I hope Micah Parsons has like at least 2 sacks. I hope he just demolishes the Cowboys offensive line. I know they're gonna look the Cowboys offensive line. They're gonna slide protect, make sure they're gonna do everything in their power to make sure Micah Parsons cannot have a big play against them. And I am all for it. I will be hate watching on Sunday night. I will be hate watching the Dallas Cowboys, and I will be rooting for the first time in my life. I will be rooting for Micah Parsons to just absolutely wreak havoc. What about you?
Yeah, so Micah Parsons is just the second player since 1982 when the NFL started tracking individual sacks to record at least 12 sacks in each of his first 4 career seasons. The only other player to accomplish that is Hall of Famer who played both for the Packers and for the Philadelphia Eagles, and that is Reggie White.
Yeah.
He's the only other player to have done that. And I think that I mean, my bold take is I think that Micah Parsons has 3 sacks on Dak Prescott this game. So
I like that.
I think
like
that I am looking forward to seeing bitter beer face Jerry Jones. I am looking forward to seeing him writhing in his chair after watching him trade away his team's best player, objectively his best player, because Dak Prescott is not Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons objectively is the best player, was the best player on the Cowboys. Jerry Jones traded him away for a bag of magic beans. And I mean, I cannot wait to see this game. This is going to be such a fun game for Eagles fans if the Cowboys lose, because I think we're going to wind up beating the Packers later on in the season, and B, just the fact that like, hey, the Cowboys are reaping what they sow, as they say, and yeah, it's not going to go very well for anybody affiliated with the Cowboys if they lose that game, and I will just be there laughing my butt off.
Yep.
I'll be there just eating the popcorn.
Get your popcorn ready, Joe. But yeah, again, thank you for coming on the show tonight. Thank you. We'll definitely have to bring you on again sometime. We'll have to bring you on when Michael's here, so that way you guys can go back and forth. I'm sure he would love that as well.
Yeah.
But we definitely appreciate you coming in tonight. Go Birds. And just before I go really quick, guys, couple things. The Phillies, 3-3, just bottom of the ninth, going to a rain delay. So stay tuned. When they come back, we're going to get this walk-off win, okay? I'm calling now Max Kepler. But when we get done, the Phillies post-game show, guys, they're going to be on tonight. Look up. Fratty's going to be on. KJ's going to be on. I'm not sure who else, so I don't want to speak for anybody else. But tune into that. They're back tonight. Go give them a watch. Go give them a follow. Like it up. Do your thing, guys. Tomorrow night, 302 Birds. You see it right here, the patch. 302 Birds, the main show. Tomorrow night, they're going to break down the Rams game even more. They're going to break down the Buccaneers game even more. Talking about the Phillies. If we win tonight, the magic number even more. It's everything Philly sports related. Check them out tomorrow night as well. But other than that, that's all I got for you. We'll be back again same time next week, reacting to an Eagles win in Tampa, hopefully. But other than that, go Birds. God bless. Everybody have a good night.